Welcome back to Guns and Grilling, where we smoke, sear, and shoot. Today, we're serving up a spicy combo of firepower and flavor. On the gun side, we're discussing three EDC options: the Glock 19, the Glock 48, and the PSA Dagger Compact. Three pistols, same caliber, very different vibes. And on the grill today, we're smoking up some absolutely killer Jerk Oxtails. Caribbean heat, low and slow smoke, and bone deep flavor. So whether you're here to dial in your carry setup or you just want to drool over some great food, you're in the right place. Let's get it popping. First up, the one that started it all for many of us is the Glock 19. It's the benchmark compact pistol for some law enforcement, concealed carriers, as well as weekend warriors everywhere alike, right? You know, when you think about the Glock 19, the quick specs on this are 9mm, 15-in-1 capacity, about a 4-inch barrel, about 23.6 ounces unloaded, with a price at around $540 to $600, right? So this has been the gold standard Glock that a lot of us like to have and like to carry, and it's an exceptional firearm. So it is it's that super sweet spot between shootability and concealability. It's big enough to run hard at the range, small enough to carry every day in an outside the waistband, inside the waistband, strong side or appendix carry. If that's your flavor, it's dead reliable, wildly customizable, has more aftermarket support than just about any other pistol on the planet. But here's the catch. It is just a little chunky, right? And that about an inch and a quarter wide. Some folks may find it harder to conceal due to potential printing issues. So this is where we start to talk about the Glock 48, right? So the Glock 48, again, all these are cleared and unloaded. You know, slim carry, full capacity firearm. It started out as the slimline carry pistol, single stack, 10 rounds, built for comfort, concealability, same overall height and length as the Glock 19, but thinner. And so back in the day when this came out, that meant you had to give up 5 rounds, but not anymore. So today, thanks to the Shield Arms S15 and the PSA Micro Dagger 15-round magazines, the Glock 48 can go toe-to-toe with the Glock 19 in capacity while keeping that slim frame. So let's break this down a little more, because the magazine choice is going to make a huge difference in how this pistol performs on a day-to-day basis. So first of all, the Shield Arms S15, these were the pioneers, right? All steel, flush fit, 15-round capacity. And when they hit the market, they turned the Glock 48 into a serious EDC threat because of capacity. But steel on polymer isn't always your best friend, right? To run Shield mags reliably, you've got to swap out your Glock mag release. Otherwise, the steel mags will chew through that polymer latch, and your reliability will eventually go out of the window, right? So that's a downside. They also tend to have a tighter fit. Some reviewers report that they don't drop free cleanly, especially before you break them in. Me personally, I had terrible results with the Shield magazines. Extremely unreliable for me, with tons of feeding issues. But in fairness, I believe I had the Gen 2 mags, and from what I hear, the Gen 3 mags may perform better. I abandoned the Shield magazines personally because, you know, you want to rely on the magazines that you've got in your carry pistol for obvious reasons. And I went back to the factory 10 rounders for my EDC. Then I found out about the PSA Micro Dagger magazines. And honestly, I just found out about these mags within the past 6 weeks. So they're polymer Glock style mags, just like what your factory Glock ships with, but with 15-round capacity with that slim profile. What's awesome is that they work with your OEM mag release. You don't have to swap any parts. You don't have to tune them. You just load them, insert, and go. They're also about half the price of the Shield mags, which means you can stock up without draining your ammo budget. I purchased 2 of them and ran 200 rounds of full metal jacket and hollow points, and they ran flawlessly. No issues, no feeding issues, not a problem at all. So I now have 100% confidence in them. I'm going to continue shooting through them. I don't expect to have any problems. And again, I feel more comfortable with those in the firearm with the more capacity and the reliability for an EDC carry. So for me, again, I'm going to keep on carrying the Micro Dagger magazines. I like the simplicity. I like the not having to deal with the magazine release swap, no compatibility issues, and they've been completely reliable in my Glock 48. So that slim profile plus the full capacity makes the Glock 48 a phenomenal carry gun, light, flat, and now no compromise on firepower given the magazine capacity. So that's it's a hard one to beat. So last but not least, let's talk about the PSA Dagger Compact. This one is a shocker. And why is it a shocker? Because it gives you Glock 19 performance at about a $300 price point. So again, we're talking about 9mm, 15-in-1 capacity, a 4-inch barrel, about 22.4 ounces unloaded. It's fully compatible with Glock magazines, parts, and holsters. It's built on the Glock Gen 3 platform, but PSA added their own twist. Better grip texture, front slide serrations, which you can see here. And you can get it with optics ready, like this one is, threaded barrel, suppressor height sights, all for less than the price of a basic Glock. Now, is it as refined as a Glock? Not so much. The finish is a little rougher. The tolerances may be a little looser, but it runs, it shoots, and it does it for hundreds of dollars less. So it's perfect for budget builds, backup guns, glove box duty, or if you just want a solid EDC without breaking the bank. Now, this is going to sound absolutely insane, but for me, the PSA Dagger, in my opinion, shoots even better than my Glock 19, which is crazy to say, but I've shot them both enough to make that claim. There's just something about this. The trigger really feels good. It's got a very low recoil impulse. It just shoots a little bit better than the Glock 19, which, you know, I'd be interested to hear if you guys have any experience with both of them and see what you think. But I thought it was nuts too when I started shooting them, and I found this one to shoot even better than the 19. So, in summary, you know, I love all three of these EDC options. For me, it's hard to beat the Glock 48 for an EDC, given the 15+1 capacity and the Micro Dagger mags, and the fact that it's slimline, easy to conceal, little to no risk of printing. It's just an easy one to carry year round. There's another EDC option, the Glock 43X, which we didn't cover today. It's pretty much the same as the Glock 48 with a shorter barrel, which makes the recoil impulse a little snappier, in my opinion. I would love to hear your opinions in the comments if you've got experience with any of these, all of these, the Glock 43X, the magazines, be it Shield or the Micro Dagger. Drop it in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts on what you think. So anyway, we had a great discussion on these three weapons, right? These EDC choices. Now we're going to shift gears because it's time to get to cooking. So we're going to get to some smoked jerk oxtails. Now, I know oxtails aren't on every backyard menu, but trust me, they should be. We're going to take our time upstairs. We're going to do them low and slow, and we're going to get to cooking these oxtails. So I'll see you in the kitchen. Thanks. All right, let's get started with our cook here. So first things first, let's talk about our ingredients. The star of the show is going to be these oxtails, right? These oxtails, about 4 pounds of oxtails here in different sizes. I marinated these overnight in a Ziploc bag, and the marinade that I used on them, I used two marinades. One is a Walker's Spicy Jerk Marinade, and the other one is a KC Masterpiece Caribbean Jerk Marinade. The KC Masterpiece is much sweeter than the Walker's, so it helps to balance the heat in the Walker's, so you have a really good flavored marinade once you cook these oxtails. The other things we'll need, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna smoke these oxtails on the smoker for about 2 hours, get some good smoke, get them bathed in some good pecan smoke. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them in a cast iron Dutch oven, and then we're gonna braise them. And so to braise them, we're gonna need some chicken stock. We're gonna need some coarsely chopped yellow onion, which is here in this bowl, little thyme, and some minced garlic. That's about 2 cloves of minced garlic. This is roughly a couple tablespoons of thyme. And then, like I said, that's 1 large coarsely chopped yellow onion to put in the braising liquid so we can braise these so they can become fork tender. So we'll get to that during the cook, but we're gonna get started here. We'll see you out on the grill to put these oxtails on the grill so they can start their smoke session. See you in a minute. All right, let's get out here on this grill. Got our temperature set here to 250, so we can do a nice low and slow smoke for about 2 hours. And again, no matter what you're using, you're going to be doing an indirect smoke setup. I'm using, again, a Kamado grill. Whatever you use, you can use. It's all good. And we're just going to place these oxtail on the grill here. We're going to let them run for 2 hours. So again, I'm rolling pecan smoke, and should be good to go in 2 hours, and we'll check on them in a little bit. All right, let's give these oxtails a look. It's been about an hour and a half or so. They look fantastic. Got some nice color from the smoke on them. Okay, yeah, they look really good. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare this Dutch oven so we can braise these oxtails for the next few hours. So we're gonna put some chicken stock in this Dutch oven, and then we're gonna throw in this one yellow coarsely chopped onion. Just mix that in there. Throw in this minced garlic. Mix that up. And then last but not least, we'll put in this thyme. That should be plenty. Give that a good mix. And then we'll throw these oxtail into this braising liquid. And then we will set the grill up to braise here. Oh no, I dropped one. Oh well. Man down. So we'll put this in here. I'll set the grill up to use this cast iron and braise these oxtails. I would imagine they'll sit on here maybe a couple of hours until they're fork tender, and then we'll come back and check on it in a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's check in on these oxtails. They've been going here about an hour and a half or so. Let's see how they're doing. All right, they are coming along in this braising liquid. Got a ways to go though. They're not fork tender yet. So we will cover them up and let them keep running. They're looking good. All right, we'll be back. We'll check on them in another hour. All right, welcome back. So, pull these oxtails off the smoker. They look fantastic. Now we're gonna give them a quick peek, plate them up, and give them a taste. So they sat out there in this braising liquid for about 2 hours. And so let's see what they look like. The color's fantastic. Plate some of these up. Take a bite here. I'll just take a couple here. And then you'll typically want to serve these over a bed of rice. I've got some Jamaican rice and peas that I've made that I'll serve these over later. But let's see what we're working with here. Let's take a peek. Oh yeah, these are nice and fork tender, coming off the bone. Let's give them a taste. Yeah, these are fantastic. Little heat, little sweet, little smoke. They're perfect. So if you've never had oxtails, they are well worth your effort. They are fantastic. They're delicious. They're savory, spicy. Like I said, you put them on some rice. They're an incredible cook, and smoking them really takes them to another level. So hope you enjoyed that cook. And so let's recap our day here. So what did we do? We started with an EDC discussion. We talked about the Glock 19 being a proven workhorse, big performance, big support, maybe a little big for some to carry. Then we talked about the Glock 48, which is a slim, light, and now just as capable as a Glock 19, especially when paired with the right magazine. And then finally, we talked about the PSA Dagger Compact, budget-friendly, feature-packed, right? So for me, I rotate between the Glock 48, utilizing the PSA Micro Dagger mags, as well as the Glock 19, depending on the day and what kind of mood I'm in. but I love that we have options, especially for folks who are just getting into concealed everyday carry. Now, again, as for the smoked jerk oxtails, again, we started them with a spicy jerk rub. We used the Walkers and we used the KC Masterpiece, marinated them overnight, threw them in the smoker for a couple of hours, low and slow at 250 with some pecan wood. Took them out, put them in the braising liquid in this cast iron Dutch oven, let them simmer. Now they're fork tender and they are delicious. So they're rich, they're spicy, they're absolutely worth the time and effort. So hopefully you'll try these, but these are fantastic and again worth the effort. So drop a comment. Tell me about your EDC thoughts. What do you carry? Tell me what you think about the Glock 48 if you have one, or the Glock 19. Also let me know what you thought about today's cook. And as always, if you found any value out of this episode at all, please hit that like button, subscribe for more, tap the bell so you get reminders and you don't miss our next episode. I put out episodes once a week. And finally, once again, thanks for watching. And until next time, smoke, sear, and shoot. Take care.